This is the LG CineBeam S, a compact ultra-short throw laser projector with 4K resolution, 450,000 to 1 contrast ratio, 500 ANSI lumens, and automatic picture adjustments, including scaling, shifting, keystoning, and even adjusting to the color of your wall. This projector, in many ways, solves a huge problem with compact projectors. It's just as compact as ever, but instead of needing to sit on your coffee table, far from the outlet, with the fan noise right in front of you, and kind of in the way of everything, this can instead sit just inches from your wall, obviously a lot closer to an outlet, so that's really convenient, and it can give you up to a 100-inch picture without needing a permanent projector screen. Now, LG was nice enough to send this over and sponsor this video. That said, I'll be showing you footage of this being used on walls and projector screens, so you can make your own conclusions about this projector, and of course I'll be showing you the interface, the ports, what it can do, what you need to know about it, and more in this video. So, with that being said, let's start off with just kind of the basics, like what is this? Let's start off with the design and the general setup. So the setup is going to be, you'll have a blank wall. It doesn't even have to have a projector screen. You could have a screen if you wanted to, but I'll demonstrate it just on a wall here. And then you set this maybe a couple inches away from your wall. You can adjust how far it is from your wall, and that's going to change the size of the picture on your wall, of course. And if you look at the top, you see we have two little windows up there. One is going to be for the actual projection. I'll talk more about the quality of the picture and stuff like that later in the video, but the other is basically going to be how this projector essentially sees the projection and is able to optimize the picture for you. Again, we'll talk more about the picture and the optimization in a minute. Otherwise, the design is a very minimal looking, basically just a cube, kind of a matte aluminum finish all the way around. And on the sides, you can see we have a very simple black plastic grill, so it's going to be able to stay cool. On the left side, you can see we have a power button kind of indented right there, so real easy to find. Otherwise, no buttons on here. You'll be controlling it with the little remote controller that it comes with. We have on the front just a little sensor right there. That's going to be how the remote's able to communicate with this, and a little LED that can indicate if this is on or when signal was received. Looking at the bottom, we actually do have a 1/4-20 thread, so basically the same you'd see on most tripods, really common thread, so you're able to mount this on a lot of different things if you didn't have a nice little table to sit on. Maybe you're out camping or you're in some other environment and you just want to set this up real close to a wall, but you don't have the perfect height table. You could easily set up a little tripod or some other stand to hold this up. On the back, very minimal here. So we have two USB Type-C ports. The power adapter that it comes in the box is, very fortunately, USB Type-C. So I'm happy to see USB-C for everything. Obviously, I don't plan on losing this, but just in case I ever did, it's nice that it's just a standard universal port USB Type-C, so I can find other chargers if I ever really needed to. Next to that, you can see we also have HDMI, and on the right side of the projector, kind of a subtle little thing here, we have the ability to lock this to something. So if you're using this maybe in like a classroom or some other public setting, and you're worried about some sticky fingers taking it away, you can easily put a lock on there, so it's a little bit safer. So the design, big thumbs up. The remote that it comes with, very slim, very minimal. Of course, we have all the buttons you can see right here. Some quick access ones like Netflix, Disney+, Prime Video, and Sling. Otherwise, we've got the nice little circle in the middle to navigate pretty much everything else. Channel and volume buttons, a big mute button in the middle, and on the back, you can see we are able to change the batteries without ever needing a screwdriver. Now, the design is great and all, but I've seen a lot of compact projectors that look cool, but are awful to use. This, however, offers some pretty impressive specs for picture quality. It has premium 4K picture quality, as you can see on this B-roll right here. Great color accuracy with the RGB laser, ultra wide and accurate color reproduction with DCI P3 at 154%, and sharp contrast in deep blacks with 450,000 to 1 contrast ratio. And again, this is something that you can shine this on a projector screen and it's going to look amazing, but very impressively, I just set this up in front of a wall, and it's a white wall, but as you guys know, if you've ever bought any kind of paint for any wall, there's no just plain white. Like there's bluish white, there's like yellowish white, there's a lot of different tones that people could have for their walls, and this, as long as it's like a white-ish wall, is able to see that and adapt the color accordingly to really show you a really nice looking picture. So to test this, I actually played my own video on the projector just because I know what the colors should look like out of my camera in my videos. I'm always working with that, and I have a really good idea of what it should look like. And I have to say, I was genuinely very impressed by the color reproduction on this projector, just shining onto a basic wall. Now, one thing you want to note is, depending on what your walls look like, you might want to check them out and make sure you don't have any little nicks in your wall or anything like that. You want to have a nice smooth wall so you get the best picture on here. But it's also 500 ANSI lumens, so this is going to be bright enough. Even in the day, as long as you have your curtains closed, you'll be able to see this. But in like a theater room or at night, that's where you really get the best experience. Obviously, being a projector, a darker room is going to be really absolutely incredible using this. Now, specs aside, I was also very impressed by how sharp the image was on here. It's always in focus all over the entire display. Like, it just looks nice everywhere, and it did a really good job of automatically making it square, making everything look good. And if you accidentally set this like not perfectly straight against your wall, it'll automatically adjust it, and you can really not even tell that it's not shining straight up. Like, it lines it up perfectly, and the black pixels are actually black, so you don't have like that rectangle outline that's kind of lit up and then the actual screen in the middle. Instead, you just have the screen and you don't see anything around there. And comparing this image side by side with some other really popular full HD mini projectors, you can see really the difference is going to be in the finer details. If you look at the font on the right side here, this one, you can see every single little pixel. It's very obvious that it's only full HD. And when you're projecting into a really large, like 100-inch display, obviously that's really going to make a huge difference. And then looking over at the LG projector here, you can see it looks a lot more detailed, much more straight line as opposed to that step function on like the letter A, for example. Overall, the higher resolution just makes a significant difference. And in case I haven't mentioned this yet, this is kind of an all-in-one thing, so it does have smart functionality. You're able to connect it in many different ways, obviously on the back with HDMI and USB Type-C, but you also have LG WebOS on here, so you could do wired, you could do Bluetooth, you could do AirPlay 2, you could do screen share. There's a lot of different ways you could play back media on here, so just connecting to Wi-Fi and using LG's WebOS, as you can see right here, you're able to navigate through everything very easily. You're able to use voice commands, you're able to say like open up YouTube and stuff like that. And LG WebOS is pretty consistent across all the other platforms. So if you've used an LG kind of smart monitor or TV or any other projector, you will be familiar with this interface. Additionally, in case I haven't mentioned this yet, this is like an all-in-one device. You could just plug it in and you don't need to plug in other speakers or anything like that. This does have stereo speakers with Dolby Atmos support built in. However, because it has Bluetooth, I would love to just connect 2 more speakers on here and have a really big sound when watching a movie. But again, you don't have to. So let's get into a quick little video and sound test and you'll see what this looks and sounds like. So for the audio test, first we'll start off with just silence so you can hear the volume of the fan. Now we'll go to 50% volume on the speaker. This looks and feels like a regular bike. It's really easy to pick up. I'm holding it with just one arm right here, and it still has all the
now to 100%.
Bike. So you've got an integrated headlight on the front and a tail light on the back. It has a 350 watt motor, which because the bike is so light is more than enough to get you up to 20 miles per hour. This is a class 1 bike, by the way. So yeah, as I mentioned, this totally functions as a standalone device. If you have the space or the budget, I would definitely recommend getting like a sound bar to go with this, or maybe 2 speakers on the side. And I think that would really amplify your experience, having like some nicer sound. But again, just how compact and all-in-one this is, it is pretty impressive with how loud this is really able to get. As far as the use cases go, I think in case you're wondering right now if you're watching like, all right, like why would you really want a compact projector? Well, I've used these a lot, and there's really probably 6 main ways that I would use them. So one is going to be if you have a small apartment, if you have a small space. I did this for a while. My sister did this. My brother did this. Like a lot of people that I know have done this. Smaller apartments, you don't always have room for a very large TV. Maybe you have a smaller TV, or maybe you don't have a TV at all. So this would be a better way to kind of use that space more effectively. So you're just using wall space to project your picture onto, and when you're not watching TV or when you're not using this, you could either put it away or just leave it there, and it has such a small footprint, it's not going to really be any kind of impedance. You could also use this in a bedroom if you want to watch movies like in bed. It's kind of cool. You could just set this over like on a dresser on the other side of the room, rather than again having a big TV in your bedroom that doesn't always look good. Like if you're not using a TV, it's just a big black rectangle. This is going to be, again, not in the way. Home gym, I think, would be another cool use case for this, whether you're on an exercise bike or doing some other kind of, fitness routine. Having that in there would be pretty nice. And of course, the obvious one would be if you have an extra room that you want to turn into like a movie theater room for, maybe you have kids, they're having friends over, they want to watch a movie, they're going to be jumping around. Having this against the wall, way less breakable than having a big TV that could fall over, and also a lot better than having a projector far away that has wires that they could trip on and knock it down. So again, definitely good for that use case there. And I would say probably the last one that I've been using projectors for a while would be if you have, like, if there's like a sporting event, you're watching the Super Bowl, you have a party, everyone's coming over to your house, maybe you want to have another display somewhere else in the house. So maybe in the kitchen, maybe somewhere else, so people can watch the game and hang out somewhere and kind of talk, maybe a more quiet environment. So that is the LG CineBeam S. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this, and let me know if you want to see a comparison between this and any other products. Like I said, it's really impressive just how fast these are evolving and improving. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Mike O'Brien, and I'll see you in the next video.